All right, what's going on, Banter fam? Welcome into the Monday edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving deep into the crypto gaming markets and ecosystems, as today we're going to focus on the Avalanche blockchain and how to position yourself and capitalize on the upcoming subnet movement on the Avalanche blockchain. We'll update you on the two biggest projects starting up subnets on Avalanche with Crabada and DeFi Kingdoms in this video and some updates that they provided at the Avalanche Summit. As you see, I was actually out at GDC this last week in San Francisco. We saw tons of blockchain presence. It was absolutely amazing to see with FTX Gaming and Solana. We had Immutable X, we had Phantasma, Sandbox. So we'll talk about a little bit of this and more in this video. Without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't here to play. If you get lost, show you the way.
And let's get right into it. And as I mentioned, there were tons of blockchain presence. Like I said, we saw Sandbox, Immutable X, at GDC, and I was able to talk and meet with a bunch of these projects. We see Gala Games. We also see projects like Phantasma. Picture here, me with those guys. It was an awesome week out at GDC with some Neo Tokyo friends and more. So some great networking. And we'll actually have a full video and some interviews with projects and kind of a recap of the conference posted later this week. We're just getting all the footage put together, so I'm excited to share that. And a bunch of the developments going down because the Web2 gaming was actually pretty welcoming to the NFT gamers in person, right? Keyboard warriors sometimes, I guess, they come against NFTs in games, but the sentiment out there actually was pretty okay. Gamers were welcoming to the fact that NFTs were coming into the forefront. And when you ask a gamer, have you ever played Fortnite? They say yes. Have you ever bought a Fortnite skin or a battle pass? Most of them said yes. So they immediately clicked with NFT gaming. So it was really just good to see the general welcoming of NFT gaming at a Web2 gaming conference. So we'll post that video later this week. And then let's flip to the other side of the world. So there was an equally impactful conference, which we've been focused on heavily on the show here on In the Game, which is the Avalanche gaming movement. So many projects are swarming towards Avalanche with the subnet wave, enabling projects to take not only a part of their ecosystem, but their own token and use it as a burn mechanism, a deflationary metric in their own economy for every single transaction on their own individual subnet blockchains. And this is what Swimmer Network and DFK Chain are actually the first movers to move onto these new subnet capable chains on Avalanche. So as we see here, subnet will be powering Avalanche's current top game, Crabada, and it will be burning the TUS token, TUS, Treasure Under the Sea, every single transaction. As we see, the TUS token currently sits at about 12 cents, and you'll notice a similar trend here with both of the Joule and TUS charts. So this is actually the earnings token in the Crabada economy. So they're going with the utility token, something that no other game has ever done. They're going to burn the TUS token, the core earnings token in the economy, and the token needed to breed, for example. They're using this token to burn every single transaction. If you don't know the blockchain activity, every single week on this game, on the Avalanche chain, we have up to 2.67 million transactions on this chain, potentially, with the Swimmer Network transacting all of Crabada's volume, burning TUS in the process. I definitely expect a new run up in this economy with this new subnet capability. And then at the Avalanche Summit, they come in and announce the complete battle game structure, the first part of their overview of the battle game, as we see Discipleships as well as the Crabada. So they kind of talk about how stats are going to play into the game, as well as Discipleships, aka scholarships. So as we see here, there's going to be levels, stats, and abilities, and we'll kind of go down here. So There's different kind of body parts that give you different advantages, such as head and horns for HP, shells for armor, body for speed, etc. And as we see here, this is kind of the format of the battle game. It really looks like Axie Infinity, but with the earnings capability in Crabada, I definitely see tons of scholars and tons of Axie players potentially shifting their attention here, because the gameplay will be super similar as far as a 3v3 battle game in Crabada. And as we see here, there will be benefits of buffing your crabs with recovery, invincibility, immunity, shield, as well as debuffs like decreasing attacks, weakening opponents, etc. You'll also be able to harness the levels and level up your crabs. On top of that, you'll see that you have to feed your crabs to keep them optimum. So this is a way to keep things within the economy. Crabada's done a good way with their 3-token economy to be able to keep the tokens circulating within the economy. You have to stake their governance token to get CRAM, to be able to operate with CRAM within the ecosystem. TUS is obviously about to be burnt with every single transaction on the chain. It's also used for marketplace and breeding fees. So they've kind of found this unique system of integrating all the different tokens, as well as now they're going to have to make sure that your crabs are appropriately fed with the food that can be crafted by 5 predefined materials, which will be new drops from the special mining zones. So mining zones, new special mining zones are also around the corner. And I think most people are really looking forward to the Discipleships. So there's going to be a supply shock on crabs. There are not enough crabs in the ecosystem to suffice an influx of guilds and players who are potentially going to become scholars within the game. But Discipleships are going to be a great addition to the economy, as we see here. A rundown. They are available for the battle game. It can be accessed straight from the marketplace, just like a Peg Axie rental system, just like a Cyball rental system, for example. Each Disciple will start out with 9 Crabada slots, so you can play with up to 3 teams. As well, CRAM, the token that I mentioned, you have to stake Crabada's main core token, CRAW, to acquire CRAM. It will be used to create new Disciple accounts. So to get Disciple accounts, you have to use the CRAM token. And the Disciple account can be increased by spending CRAM. And as you see, you can also transfer Disciple accounts to Disciples to be able to use. So you formulate your accounts and you're able to rent them out to a scholar, aka a Disciple. So there's so many exciting events coming up in this economy with 5,500 active players, another 10% increase per week in this economy, a very good uptrend. And as we see, Gojo Crypto with great information on Crabada, for example. And as we see here, they're blowing away other games on volume here. NFT volume, Crabada, as far as NFT GameFi rankings, far and away above Axie, SoRare, Sandbox, etc. So in my opinion, a way to get in front of this, guys, is to just, if you're participating in the economy already, then you're already well positioned because you're earning TUS on a normal basis. But take a look at the thread here from Miko. He definitely describes the health of the economy and the best ways to get in from ROI standpoints, from tavern to mining with no reinforcements, as well as mining with reinforcements. I've talked about it a lot on the channel. I won't beat a dead horse, but we have strategy videos here on the channel. Take a look at this thread here by Miko. It's a great way to get an overview of the ROI and the different level of entries and the health of the economy. As we see here, he does a really good job of going over the prime and craboid populations. As we see here, the populations are kind of evening out because bulks were dominating the economy. So it's a very good metric to use to kind of get a grip on where the economy is. And let's shift over to DeFi Kingdoms, because this is now the most immediate move that we can make. So the most actionable move right around the corner is DeFi Kingdoms Crystalvale. The Crabada blockchain and Swimmer network will go live mid-April. So April 18th, around that range, Swimmer network will go live for Crabada, and the battle game will as well. But on the 30th of this month, just 2 days from now, we're going to see DeFi Kingdoms Crystalvale chain, basically DFK chain powered by Avalanche, open up on the 30th. And as we see, at the Avalanche Summit, they announced a partnership with Coinbase Wallet, a fiat on-ramp, with Binky to provide direct lending through DFK, with Synapse, a cross-chain protocol, and with Pocket for RPCs. And as we see, Crystalvale opens on March 30th. And there's so many new things with Heroes Contest, pets, the travel system, combat system, merch options within DeFi Kingdoms, wallet options, as we talked about with the integration with Coinbase Wallet on top of MetaMask. And just like Crabada, they are about to be burning Jewel with every single transaction on this chain. And as we see with 2 million transactions every single week, you can just see how bullish this is for the Jewel token, because the deflationary metrics that are about to be put on this chain and on this token with Jewel is about to be very, very heavy. As we see, 50% will be burned for gas, 25% to validators, and 25% to floating quest fronts. And they'll also have an in-house bridge on the docks within DeFi Kingdoms to be able to easily get over to the new blockchain. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. The DEX pairs on day one will be Jewel and XJewel, which is creating a massive supply shock for Jewel. And as we're seeing here right now, Jewel this week only, is up from 480 to 883. It's almost done a 2x just in a week, and it has done a 2x since its lows down here at $3.90 just 2 weeks ago. So if you've been just farming Jewel and farming within DeFi Kingdoms in the gardens, for example, you are really in well position at this moment. And I don't think that this run is done for Jewel. As we see, it's hit all-time highs of $22 for Jewel. And as we see, we're sitting at 883 with the deflationary metrics and the burn mechanic coming with every single transaction. And the Jewel demand right now, leading up to the 30th, if you see here, we'll talk about Jewel's in accumulation mode heading up to the 30th, with the main pair being 2 staked methods of Jewel and then a XJewel pair, which you have to earn through staking it with the jeweler. So you have to earn Jewel by buying more Jewel. You have to earn XJewel, by buying more Jewel and staking it within the jeweler. And you just have to add the token address to your MetaMask, and you'll see it there, able to access and bridge to the new chain. I definitely expect a crazy run from Jewel if the market trends up as we're seeing, guys. The market's looking pretty bullish. And I think the sentiment for the next 30 to 60 days, if we trend upwards, could be, very, very bullish in the market. And if Jewel does the run here on the back of the subnet movement to DFK chain, I could see Jewel doing big things. And as we see, 30.1 million Jewel is currently staked. That's a 40% almost increase from 7 days ago. So we're seeing the supply shock in action to get your hands on the tokens needed to get over to the new chains. They're making it very easy. As you see here, you can get from Harmony over to the new DFK blockchain just by using the docks. They'll have a simple method to bridge your tokens over. As mentioned, you'll need to stake some Jewel in the jeweler to be able to get XJewel, to be able to pair it on the new DFK chain to earn the Crystal token. So the DEX pair is Jewel XJewel, and you will stake it for the Crystal token. And the Crystal token has just a fraction of the supply that the Jewel token has. So the Crystal token is going to have high demand. That's why people are flocking to pick up Jewel on top of just the deflationary metrics with the gas burning. There's on top of that, the demand for Jewel is going to be very, very heavy because the supply is significantly less than the Jewel token. If you don't have the XJewel token in your wallet, you can add it here. And as mentioned, you have to get it through staking through the jeweler. And then it'll just give you steps on how to add the DFK chain mainnet right to your MetaMask. It's MetaMask compatible. There's also a bridge or an outpost for Avalanche chain opening up tomorrow. If you have any coins on Avalanche that you want to bridge over, they'll have an outpost opening up on the 29th, where you can begin preparing your funds for the 30th for the new blockchain. I'm just super excited for the developments right now on Avalanche. Like everything, they're turning these games into layer 1 blockchains. Think about it. Jewel is now a layer 1 blockchain. Let that sink in. And that is exactly why we are seeing the uptrend here. So I think a great way to position yourself is either to get involved whenever it does bridge over, or simply stack up some Jewel in the process. If you believe in the fact that the movement here to get on their own blockchain with 2 million transactions, 2 million transactions a week. Let's just check out the monthly volume, right? I mean, this is transaction volume of $197 million, 2 million transactions. Over 1 month, we're looking at 8 million transactions, utilizing the Jewel token to burn for $511 million worth of transaction volume. If you don't see the demand and the supply shock that this will create on Jewel coming right around the corner, then I don't know what to tell you, but this is a great opportunity to get involved with the new movement that Avalanche is empowering these protocols. This has never been seen. This is going to really change the game if these subnets kick off the way that I think they will, with the capabilities of a layer one like Avalanche behind it. These games are all going to start thinking sidechain capability or, subnet capability is a must for sustainability. Imagine if Pegaxi could have utilized a burn mechanism on their transactions for VIS, right, at the top of their economy to try to sustain it long term. That's exactly what these games are getting in front of. So I'm super excited to be in front of this with Jewel. I'm participating in the Gardens, and me and Miles will actually have a show on his DeFi show in about 14 hours from now. Whenever he goes live, I will be joining him, and we'll also be talking about strategies to maximize your strategy. A game plan to maximize your earnings and maximize your potential whenever Crystalvale opens. On top of that, guys, we'll close it out. If you saw Ascenders, they now have a combat challenge open, and this is actually super fun, guys. You can go and play a little mission, a combat challenge of Ascenders, and I'll play a little video of this for you tomorrow. That way you can kind of see what it looks like. And then on top of that, we see Shrapnel teasing a little bit of a map. It looks like a mix of like a New York area. So, super realistic renderings here. As we know, team is very, very high experience with Shrapnel, coming from the likes of HBO, EA Studios. They've worked on Westworld. They've worked on Halo. There's a bunch of different experience within the Shrapnel development team. And this is all from the Avalanche Summit, guys. So as mentioned, I will cover in a exclusive video everything from the Game Developer Conference, but we had to run down everything from the Avalanche Summit and get you well positioned for the subnet movement that is around the corner. I will be back tomorrow for another show on In the Game. I'll also be back on Miles' show to discuss DeFi Kingdoms more in depth and how you can position yourself and get ready for the Crystalvale expansion. I will see you guys then. Be sure to like the video for more and subscribe to the channel for daily In the Game shows. I'll be back tomorrow. Play well, my friends.
What?